Okay, should we jump into the questions?
Let's jump into it.
All right. First question, really basic. You've probably heard this like a million times, but I have to ask it. What would you say is your biggest musical inspiration? Like, would you say it's another artist? Would it be like maybe a movie or just like a general
Hmm.
vibe?
I think musical inspiration, I mean, it's probably cliche, but I really love the Beatles, and I really like how all of their albums have many different types of songs on their records. And yeah, that's something that we always try to do is make an album with lots of different types of songs on it. So they're definitely an inspiration for me. And then yeah, outside of that, just the goings on in my life and random things kind of spark inspiration sometimes. I've got really bad writer's block at the moment, so I'm trying to spark it artificially by like
Mhm.
putting on movies and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. That's a basic answer for you.
Wait, so like, what kind of movies have you been watching then to help you?
Um, right. I mean, honestly, I like to try to maybe watch like an old favorite movie or something like that, or put something on that maybe has some like themes that maybe I can identify with. And so a lot of or even for example, the other day I was trying to write like kind of a spooky sort of a dark rock song. It's really easy for me to write like kind of a sad sort of a love song. I've
Mhm.
done lots of those in the past, and I want to try to break out of that. So I wanted to write like a more hardcore rock tune, and so I put on Poltergeist, which is, have you seen Poltergeist? It's like an old school horror movie from the, you haven't seen it? It's good.
Oh
It's an
my
old,
gosh.
really good horror movie. So I put that on to try and like, I don't know, maybe there'd be some like visuals that I could like draw from to try to write a tune. I mean, it didn't really work that well, but yeah, sometimes I'll do stuff like that.
Interesting. That's
But you
actually
should watch Poltergeist. That's a really fucking good
I'm
movie.
I'll actually
It's
like
really creepy.
I'll like later today I will literally watch it.
Well, you should save it for a couple weeks. It's spooky season, so
True. No,
you
you're
can
right.
watch Poltergeist for Halloween if you haven't seen it before.
Yes, so true. I will definitely do that. Okay. That's so cool though. I'm curious as like other movies that you watch, but like I don't know. That's so cool. I get that.
Well, what else did I watch? I just like watching movies. My girlfriend and I have like a long list of movies that we try to like go through,
Yeah.
check them off the list. We give it a rating afterwards. And what did we watch this week? We watched the movie Face Off. Do you know that movie?
Oh,
With
I heard.
it's got Nick Cage and John Travolta in it.
Yeah.
It's a really fucking weird movie where they have a surgery that switches their faces. So like Nick Cage starts out as this like super villain, and John Travolta is this FBI agent,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason, they have a surgery and their faces get switched, so they have to play each other's characters. It's a really wacky movie. Honestly, I think the movie would suck if it wasn't for Nick Cage and John Travolta, but it's good. And it was my first time watching it. It's a classic. I would recommend you watch that as well.
Huh. Okay, I will add it to my list.
Definitely.
Also, I don't know, do you use Letterboxd?
What's that?
Oh my God, you should totally use it. It's like this, I don't know, it's like a website. There's also an app, and you basically can like make a watch list of all the movies you want to see and then
Right?
like mark them off when you watch them, and you can like rate them and like give a review.
Really?
And you can
Oh
like
man.
follow other people. It's like basically social media, and like people
Oh,
will write
that's sick.
really funny
But it's
reviews.
all for movies.
Yeah, it's like all a movie thing.
Letterboxd. Okay, cool. That's awesome. That sounds right up my alley.
It's right. It's so useful. Like you can keep track of all the movies you've seen, like everything. It's so good.
Tight.
Highly recommend. Okay, anyway, we should probably move on to the next question. Let's see. In previous interviews, you guys have said that there's no like true date on when new music is coming, but can you tell us maybe about some potential upcoming releases, just anything about them?
Yeah, well, we've been working on a new album for the past year. We started recording it at the beginning of the year, and we honestly were hoping to have it done before now. And yeah, it just didn't really come together the way that we wanted. So we took some more time to try and write some more songs, and then we're going to go back into the studio at the end of the year for 3 weeks to try to finish off the record. And in the meantime, I'm just trying to write my ass off and work really hard to write some new songs for us. And that's all I know past that. So hopefully we make our deadline, which is like have the record done by like the beginning of January. Um, but if not, then maybe it'll be pushed back. I hope not, though. But yeah, I would say if we're lucky, we'll have a new record out by the spring next year.
Amazing. That's so excited. I'm sure everyone's gonna be super excited to hear that. Do you think like with the new songs you're writing, do you think you're gonna like pull them out at any like upcoming shows or anything?
Yeah, well, we did. We wrote a song called Yasmina, and we played it on tour for a few shows to kind of road test it, see whether people were vibing with it or not. That's the only new song that we played on tour, and then yeah, we will for sure. I think we'll probably play a couple new tunes here and there.
Cool. That's so awesome. Okay, next question. What is the extent to which you draw on your own experiences when writing songs? Like, is there a point you feel like you've said too much or like you need to dial it back?
Yeah, I've definitely felt that before. I usually like to be very maybe true to like a story when I'm writing a song, and a lot of our songs are about kind of, real life experiences. But yeah, sometimes I do feel like I went maybe too far. I like to write with real people's names, my friends and family's names in songs. And yeah, sometimes I write a song and I'm like, wow, this is really good, but it does say somebody's name in it. So maybe they're not going to be super stoked about it. That hasn't happened so far, but yeah, definitely I've been in that situation where I'm like, oh, maybe this is divulging too much, or maybe I'm being a little bit too like vulnerable or something. But I think that's the best part about music is drawing from those kind of like real life emotions and interactions and stuff. And it's just the easiest way for me to write songs. If it's already happened in real life, then I can just write about it. I don't have to like make it up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is kind of a scary thing sometimes to put out a song that has somebody's name in it. It might piss them off, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's kind of my story to tell, and I try not to be too afraid of giving up.
Yeah. That's honestly so cool. I think that's really cool. Like, I don't know, that was gonna be my next question was if anyone's ever like gotten mad at you for like writing about them in their song, but
No, nobody's gotten mad at me, but yeah, it is kind of weird sometimes for sure. Like if you have a song with somebody's name in it or something, and you just have to keep singing about it forever, even if maybe you don't talk about them that much or see them that much anymore. But sometimes they just turn into songs eventually. And also, I like to remind myself that, like, for everyone else who listens to the song, it's just a song. If they've got someone's name in it, it's just a name. They don't really know who the person is. They don't know anything about them. They don't know anything really about my life. Um, and it can just be fiction to everybody else, but real to me.
yeah, that's so true. I think that's a great way of thinking about it.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's awesome. I'm honestly like surprised that nobody's ever like come to you and been like, "Whoa, that song's about me." Like, what the heck?
No, people would say it in a positive way usually. Yeah, for sure. They'll be like, "Whoa, that's crazy that you wrote a song about me," or like, yeah. Usually it's not met with like people being like upset or hostile or something. I guess it's kind of like flattering to have a song written about you.
Yeah, true.
So yeah,
I mean, unless you're writing like a diss track about somebody, then
yeah. I've
maybe.
never really written a proper diss track before, so
Yeah, you never
yeah,
know.
yeah. If Drake comes at me, I'm gonna have to though.
Oh my gosh, that would be insane. That would be a real showdown. Okay, the next question I have is people really love like your general aesthetic, specifically with like your album art and just the way that everything you do is kind of like just super cohesive, like artistically. So, do you have any kind of like process when you're picking an album cover, when you're like, doing like the artistic stuff that comes along with this?
Yeah, well, we have a friend of ours named Lester Lyons Hookham. He's a music video director, and he's done all of our music videos. But Lester also like helps us as like a creative director for any like albums that we put out. So, um, yeah, Lester, he kind of like is in charge of making sure that the record is the way it is. He did all the album artwork for Being So Normal. He took the photos for the front and the back of You and Your Friends, and then our friend Victoria did the artwork for like the typeface for that, and then for our new record, same thing. Lester did it all. So with that regard, he gets all the credit. I might come in and be like, yeah, that's sweet, but he has really good taste, so he always makes it look really cool. And we work together on all those things. But yeah, he's the real kind of brains behind making our records look good.
That's awesome. Shout out to Lester. That guy
Yeah,
rocks.
he's the best.
Apparently. Have you ever like, I don't know, I guess, okay, I feel like your music and like, I guess everything that Lester does is like really like, it just makes sense. I don't
Okay.
know. I just feel like your style of music, like you were talking about how you have a lot of like slower like love songs. I feel like that just relates a lot to the album art. So like
Right.
my question would be like, when you first started, did you know
Mhm.
that it was like the general aesthetic that you wanted to accomplish? Or did it just
Yeah, I think I think everybody draws from inspiration, or it draws inspiration from maybe the musicians that were kind of before them that inspired them to make music and stuff. So like a lot of the time I'll point to like Mac DeMarco, because when we were first starting out, when we were in like end of high school, early 20s, Mac was really popping off, and he was putting out records like Two was kind of just came out, and that album, kind of like the aesthetic of the album color and like the typeface of it and stuff, like obviously we're trying to be kind of like Mac DeMarco. We want to be cool like him. We want to have chorus on our guitars to make it sound like Mac DeMarco, and we want to have kind of like fun, lighthearted lyrics, maybe similar to his, and so yeah, I got to say that he was a big inspiration for us when we were starting out. So yeah, I think that's the way it works for every band, though. Everyone's always kind of like looking at the like either the groups that kind of came right before them that inspired them to start making music.
yeah. I feel like that's really funny you say that because I have a musician friend who's on campus and
Yeah,
he says that like Peach Pit, like that's his.
exactly. That's just how it goes. It's just like, it's the whole kind of genealogy of like popular music or whatever, everybody, it just kind of keeps going down the line. And at one point in time, we were just young kids looking up to other bands and wanting to make music like theirs. And then eventually maybe you make it far enough that you have people listening to your music, and then it kind of repeats itself, and it keeps going forever, which is kind of a cool thing to be part of that.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. Yeah, I love like the natural cycle of it.
Yeah, me too.
It's awesome. Okay. Next question I had was you guys have some exciting festival gigs lined up for the next couple of months, but what has been like your favorite festival or like show experience and why?
Well, we played some really good festivals this year. We played Bonnaroo for the second time, which was really awesome. That experience was cool because Bonnaroo is a great festival. We had a really awesome crowd. It was really, really cool. But we were flying Air Canada from our home to go to Nashville to play the show, and they lost every single piece of our equipment before, like the day of the show. So we had to um, rent everything the morning of the show, and like literally our crew put together like guitars, amps, pedals, drums, everything that we had. We had nothing with us. So the show was kind of like, it was really fucking hectic. It was cool though. It was sweet that we were able to like still play even though we didn't have any of our instruments or anything. And then later in the year we played Lollapalooza in Chicago for the first time.
Mhm.
And that was super cool. That festival is awesome. It's like right downtown Chicago in this really cool park right on the water. And yeah, we just had like the biggest crowd ever that we'd ever played for. It was just a sea of people. It went on for so long. That was really cool. Yeah, I think the best part about festivals is getting to play for crowds that you normally like, big crowds maybe that you wouldn't normally get at your own headline show. So, we play, it depends, we might play for 2,000 people if we're playing in New York City, but then at Lollapalooza, we get to play for 30,000 people or something. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you ever get your equipment back or did they just
We did, we got it all back. We got it back. Yeah, it took a couple days for us to get it back, but yeah, they took us bad. It was brutal.
Yeah, that is brutal. That is gosh, that's terrible. I'm glad you still got to play though. That sounds good, but damn. But speaking of festivals, I saw that you guys are going to Australia very soon.
Hmm.
For, I think it's Yours and Owls Festival.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, are you looking at anything to do while you're in Australia? Like, are you excited to be in Australia? Have you ever been? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, none of us have been to Australia before. It's going to be our first time playing shows over there, first time traveling there. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. Australia is such a massive country. I feel like in North America, you look at a globe and it doesn't seem that big, but it's so freaking huge that, like, we have to fly. Have you been to Australia before?
I have actually. I was
You
gonna,
have?
I studied abroad there, like my
Oh,
last
nice.
semester.
That's so cool. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
I should ask you before I start spouting off about Australia. I don't know anything about Australia other than it's so big that we have to fly between every show, which is not normal for us. Um, and we have a couple days off at the start of the tour just to like kind of help us acclimatize to the time change.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for suggestions. What are we supposed to do? Where were you in Australia?
Oh my gosh, this is so great. Yeah, so I lived there for like 5 months
Cool.
in Melbourne. Are you guys
Yeah.
going to Melbourne?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're going to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and then that's it in Australia. And then we're going to Auckland. Yeah.
Okay, okay, awesome. Um, I honestly like I've only been to Brisbane once, I
Yeah.
think. I don't really remember that much about it, but I do know that there's beaches there
Yeah,
and
well, the beach would
nice.
be tight, and it's gonna be nice when we're there. So, it would be nice to go to the beach. I would love to see a kangaroo. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. Um, I was just thinking about the other day. I don't really like spiders, so I'm pretty nervous about like opening a door and there just being a giant spider
Yeah,
on the ground or something.
I don't know, honestly,
Um,
like in my whole time there, and like to be fair, I did live in the city, but like
right, yeah,
I don't know, their cities are still very like not super city like. There's still like a lot of greenery in their cities. So there should have been spiders, but I did not encounter a single one the entire time I was there.
well, that's good because I'm pretty scared of spiders, so I wasn't looking forward to that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited for the shows. I feel like I'm from Vancouver, and there's lots of Australians in Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah, well, we live really close to this like world class ski resort called Whistler, which is like
Ooh.
where every single Australian comes on gap year to go work at this ski resort and go
Mm.
skiing. And so partially because of that, partially because we're part of like the Commonwealth, so like it's really easy to get a visa to go from Canada to Australia. So where there's lots of Aussies here. I've grown up around lots of Australians. I've got Australian friends, and they're just like crazy. They like to party. So I feel like the shows are going to be nuts.
Yeah.
We've played a lot of places in the world at this point, and the UK is a really crazy place to play shows. Scotland is like I would say number one craziest.
Nice.
And I feel like Australia is going to be like on par with Scotland. They're just like there's a big drinking partying culture there, so I think the shows are going to be pretty wild.
Yeah, and I feel like if you've never played there, like there's
Yeah,
like this built up hype from like
extra
you.
hype, and Australia is so far away that I mean, lots of bands do go to Australia, but I feel like for them it's like when their favorite band comes, you have to go to the show because maybe it's the last time they might never come again.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you guys are gonna have a great time. It's like super easy to find like kangaroos and koalas and stuff too. So
Okay, yeah. So
you'll
hopefully see
definitely
kangaroo, koala. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yep. I'm trying to think if I have any like specific recommendations. Honestly, like when you're in Melbourne,
Do you have a
what
favorite restaurant? Maybe one restaurant that you really like? Just like
oh
one that you're like, this place is really good. Like we love to, yeah, we like to eat.
yes,
So
actually. Yes. It's this place called China Red,
yeah,
and it's in Chinatown in Melbourne.
okay.
And like I don't know, it's a Chinese restaurant, but their dumplings are like
Oh,
really
nice,
and it's the kind of thing where there's like an iPad next to the table and you just like type it in and then
nice.
like immediately bring it out. Like
Okay. Well, I'll
have
definitely add that to my restaurant list because yeah, Chris, our guitar player, is obsessed with dumplings. Like he loves any
yes.
Asian cuisine, especially dumplings. So I guarantee he's gonna hit that up.
Yeah, they're so good. I highly recommend it. Let's see. Maybe we can get into some fan questions now.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody asked, who was behind the idea to redo Drop the Guillotine but change the vibe completely? Was it hard for you to adjust?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, so we have two versions of Drop the Guillotine. One of our songs, one's super slow, I wrote it on GarageBand on my parents' computer back when I was still living at home. And I don't know how to play keyboards or anything, but you can make like your keyboard on your computer into like a piano. So I played it on that, and then I wrote this tune. And then yeah, Chris, our guitar player, he came up with the idea to make it into like a fast-paced rock song. And actually, the fast version is really the only real version to me. We've never even played the slow version. It's just on an early EP of ours. But yeah, it was a long time ago we wrote that song, so I can't even really remember what it felt like to change it up. But yeah, the main one I know is the fast version. So
Interesting. Okay, cool. Another question we got was, does your head hurt after headbanging so much at concerts?
honestly, yeah, it does. I not my head, but my neck. I last year. Well, okay, firstly, like when you go on tour, if I haven't headbanged or played any shows in a while, the first like 3 nights, my neck is so stiff. Like, have you ever gone to a concert and like headbanged super hard and then had a whiplash the next day? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the biz, we call that a bang over. So I usually get a real bad bang over for the first 3 days. And then after that, my neck kind of acclimatizes to it. And then I can like headbang nonstop. It doesn't, my neck's not sore or anything. It just like, it feels totally normal. But then
Huh.
last year, how did I fuck up my neck? I can't even really remember. Yeah, we played this one show in Portland and I went super crazy ham. It was the start of a big tour and I was really excited. And I totally threw out my neck. And then ever since then, my neck's been kind of fucked. So right now, my neck is actually killing me. But, you know, you got to keep going for
True,
the rock
true.
and roll music. You know, you can't stop.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. Wait, what is it called? A bangover?
Yeah, it's called a bangover. It's like a
I'm
hangover, but it's
I'm
for
gonna
banging.
start using that. That's great. So good. Have you ever like I don't know, have you ever gotten like a serious injury when performing, or is that like the worst?
No, nothing serious. No, I screwed up my neck and then it's fine now ish. But what happened? Oh man, it could have been so much worse. But we were playing a show in San Diego, and Chris was like walking up to the front of the stage, and he just tripped on a cable or something, and he just went, just oh, he just ate shit so hard off the stage. Like I wish I could show you this video. He miraculously was fine. Um, oh, and then last year when we were in Amsterdam, it was the start of a tour, and I like to crowd surf usually right at the beginning of the show to get the crowd going. And yeah, I like leapt off the stage. It was a really high stage. It was like 6 foot. I leapt off the stage in the crowd, and they just like totally moved out of the way. I full on Jack Black, like smashed onto the floor from 6 feet. And then you're like on the ground, and you're just like your soul leaves your body, and you're like, but then you have to get up because the show has to get. So I got up, climbed back on stage, and like finished the song or whatever. And then I scolded the people in the front. I was like, "That's shit. You better catch me next time." Uh, but yeah, Amsterdam, they don't know how to catch crowd surfers. I've only seen a crowd surf go wrong twice. Our first time in Amsterdam, some girl jumped off the stage and the sea parted and she ate. And then for me, last time we were there, so they need to
Wow.
figure out their shit over there.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah,
What's up?
yeah.
Can't believe that happened to you. That's ridiculous. Okay, another question that I was thinking of, what's like, I don't know, I feel like you've probably met a lot of like really cool like musicians and maybe even celebrities. So like who's like the coolest person that you've met?
Not really, to be honest. I haven't really met any like uh famous bands or anything. The only person that we were like we idolized or something that we met was we played a festival um maybe 4 years ago in LA, and Mac DeMarco was a headliner. We went and saw his show. We thought it was super awesome. And then we were backstage in like the parking lot, just about to drive away in our van, and we see Mac walk by. And I think he's a sober guy now, but he was hammered and he was like walking by with a beer or whatever. And we were like, Chris, roll down the window, roll down the window. You got to see something to Mac, We're good Canadian boys. We got to love Mac DeMarco. So Chris rolls down the window and he's like, hey, Mac, like, that was a great show, man. And Mac is just like wasted, and he comes over to Chris and he grabs him by the face. He grabs his face and he goes, "I am not your witness. I'm your butterfly." And then he kisses Chris on the lips and then walks away. That's the only like weird celebrity encounter. We've told that story so many times in interviews. That's the only person that we've met, and obviously Mac's a legend, so he gave us a really good story. But
Yeah.
other than that, we're from Vancouver, Canada, so we're not really around like music industry stuff that much. And yeah, just up here in old Canada.
Are you there right now in Canada?
Yeah, I'm at my house. It's a nice sunny day here in Vancouver.
Oh my gosh. I got to get up there. I've never been to Canada before.
Oh man, you gotta come. What's Connecticut below? I guess that's East Coast. So that's like Montreal, Toronto, sort of would be on the East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta go. You gotta go to Toronto. That's a really awesome city. But Montreal is sweet if you wanna. It's easy to get to because it's it's in North America, but it kind of feels like you're going to Europe. So it's pretty cool.
I will have to check that out for sure. Okay. The last question that I had is one that we love to ask people because I don't know, it's just a really good question. What's your favorite kind of pasta?
Favorite kind of pasta? Well, as a Canadian, we call it pasta up here.
Right, pasta.
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 Well, you know what? Actually, during the pandemic, I bought a pasta maker. So I make homemade pasta. It's really, really easy. It's
Ooh.
just flour and egg and a little bit of olive oil and salt, and you just mix it up until it's the right consistency. And then I have this like old like hand cranked thing that you feed the dough through, and it flattens it, and then another thing that cuts it. So if I had to pick my favorite, I like to make maybe like a clam vongole or something like that, which is like spaghetti with clams. It's pretty good. I also like making ravioli. Ravioli's good because you can kind of put whatever you want inside of it, and it tastes awesome.
True. That's
But
so true.
hey, I gotta say, invest in a pasta maker because it's easy to make and you can impress your friends really easily, and it's so much better than dried pasta. So yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I think I'm gonna be purchasing one of those very soon.
Do it. They're not expensive, and it goes a long way.
Oh my god, this is so good to know. This has me excited now.
Nice.
That is awesome. Okay, well, I think that's all of the questions that we had. And I think that takes us to about 30 minutes. So
Perfect.
have any questions for me or anything else?